Welcome to episode 189. Today on Book Chat, joining me are Casey from Literary Escapism and Nicola from Alpha Heroes. We're discussing the next 3 book bloggers, 1 series read-along title, Wicked Burn by Rebecca Zanetti. Today's episode is brought to you by audiobooks.com. New customers get 1 free audiobook when using our promo code AudioShelf. You just need to enter the code AudioShelf on the sign-up page, then click Apply, then fill out the rest of your account info. Support this podcast by using our code AudioShelf and get your first audiobook free. Hey everyone, I am your host, Tamara Ford, and welcome to Book Chat here on the Shelf Addiction Podcast. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Here on Book Chat, you'll find book roundtable discussions, recommendation lists, author interviews, and more. If you'd like to check out book reviews and other bookish posts, please visit the blog at shelfaddiction.com. If you'd like to comment on today's episode, you can find me on Twitter at shelfaddiction, as well as my book blogger co-host. Tweet at us using our special hashtag 3bloggers1series. That's using the numeric 3 and 1. Again, that's hashtag 3bloggers1series. As always, if you'd like to email in feedback or questions, feel free to reach out to me at info@shelfaddiction.com or call in and leave an internet voice message via SpeakPipe. I hope to hear your thoughts on tonight's discussion. The links for everything I've mentioned are below in the show notes. Hey everyone, welcome back to another roundtable discussion of the 3 Bloggers 1 series read along. And joining me, as always, are my 2 read along co-hosts, Casey and Nicola, and we'll let them introduce themselves. Casey, how about you first?
Hi everyone, I'm Casey. I'm a reviewer at Literary Escapism and a freelance editor at Heartful of Ink.
And I'm Nicola Anichuk. I have been blogging for quite a few years at alphaheroes.net, and I occasionally do some reviews for RT, and happy to be here on the podcast.
Yay, glad you guys are here. So, today, we are talking about book number 3 of the Realm Enforcer series by Rebecca Zanetti, and that is called Wicked Burn. I hope you guys have read along, and if you're listening, beware, spoiler alert, we're just going to talk about everything here, so you've been warned. Don't say we didn't tell you. Where should we start, guys? This was a very short read to me, kind of felt kind of short.
Yeah.
So, where do you want to start? I'll let you guys choose a spot, because there's some fun things to talk about.
We can start with the beginning and the whole prophecy that was just like, oh, hey, you need to go do this thing, quit your life and go be evil forever. And he was like, okay. And I was like, that's it? That's all it takes for you to go be evil for a century?
Yeah, he's like, the love of my life, I bought this house, but okay.
But the love of his life would have perished in the plague if he hadn't done that.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty huge plot device, right, to start things off, but establishes the tragic backstory, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But I did like how the book did pick up essentially right after the end of the previous book. So we kind of did get the little flashback into time to kind of see how this all kicked off and how she ended up back, with Nick, in a way, which was good. But I don't know. At first, I didn't really understand the prophecy exactly. I'm like, okay, so it took me a minute to really connect the dots. And it seemed like he was, I guess, bound to protect Zane and his brothers, in the demon world. But it flipped on its head a little bit. And he's second in command and like brothers to them. And I guess that's part of the prophecy. He doesn't know everything. I guess he knows a little bit, and the rest kind of just happened.
Yeah. But still.
Yeah.
Again, yeah. And I think this is another place where missing out on the first series probably detracts from the experience here. So I don't know, because I haven't read it yet. I probably will, but it does feel like you'd have more context for all of those machinations if you'd known what went on in the previous series.
See,
Probably,
that's
yeah.
a big assumption, I feel like, because I'm not confident. Because, I mean, honestly, I've read plenty of spin-offs where I did not feel like a chunk was missing. And
Sure.
I feel like that says something about the ability of the writer to tell people who are new about the world without info dumping the previous readers. I feel like that was a little missing so far. And I don't think I should have to be required to go back and read the previous series to understand this. I don't.
That's fair.
But that's just me.
Yeah. And I didn't feel that I needed to know it, but I if you were feeling, I don't know, I'm more willing to let things ride, I guess, in the paranormal worlds than some people are. I'll jump into the second or third book and I'll be like, oh, these guys must have been in another book, but I don't need to know their whole story just because they showed up, you know. But some people do.
Those weird people who wants to know everything, though. I'm the opposite of you. I want to know everything, and even reading spin-offs, I want to know, and I didn't get that knowing feeling, like you were saying. Like, it's all the stylistic of the author, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I definitely I think, come in the middle. I like to understand what's going on, but I don't have to nitpick everything that doesn't have a clear answer. As long as it makes sense in the grand scheme of things, I'm okay with it. But when things don't make sense and it's like, that's kind of dumb, it doesn't connect, then that's when things start to kind of bother me. But as long as that doesn't happen to that extent, I can kind of let some things just go and just take it at face value.
Yep, right. So I there was a lot of action through this whole book. It felt like kind of anytime the plot started to slow down in any way, like something blew up and people started chasing them again. So,
or you know what else happened?
What?
Sex was a great plot device in this book.
Well, see, I felt the other way around. It was like the sex was always getting interrupted by things blowing up.
You're running. Wait, let's have sex right now. Hey, wait.
The alleyway. Well, it's raining, and
Yeah, that was a kind of a like, okay, paranormal people must not be bothered by that.
Right.
She doesn't care about bricks in her back.
Like Nicholas Sparks meets Vampire World or something.
Right. And he was Nick, honestly, when it came to the sexual stuff, he's like such a walking contradiction. One minute he's like, oh, I should be so delicate with you. You're so this and that. And then the next he's like, let me smack that, you know what, and let's bam, bam. And he's all like, extra raw. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, rubbing people against brick walls and doing all the crazy stuff. And then the message, I wanted to be romantic. What?
I know that was a strange choice for a first time.
Yeah.
So for the readers who haven't read it, it was pouring down rain. They were standing up in an alley. They were banging up against a brick
running
wall.
for their life.
They were paused. the bad guys had missed them. They were in but yeah.
They were in a safe house. The bad guys found the safe house. They ran through another secret passage, and then they're like, all right, now let's stop to have sex in this alleyway.
Yeah.
Assuming that they didn't find this new passage at the time.
They felt safe. They felt like they'd lost their pursuers, and like they had all that adrenaline, and they had to do something with it.
But they do the same thing later. So they're on break during. We're going to jump ahead just a little bit just to talk about the sex. They're on break during the little trial, and they're all like, let's mate real fast on this table in this conference room. And so they go back. I mean, it's all crazy. People are hearing them. It's a little nuts. They go back, and then one of the guys on the, from the Covenant 9, they're like, wait, you guys made it over lunch?
Yeah.
Well, they're afraid they're going to behead her, so that might be their last chance.
Last chance to get it in before
That's
you
right.
die.
Where do you want to go? I mean, come on. You're not going to let those opportunities go if you think you're going to be dead in 10 hours.
Oh, gosh. I guess. I don't know.
A last meal with sex, I guess.
That's right. I don't know. Seize the moment, ladies.
I guess. I mean, and their sex was pretty crazy, if you ask me. I mean, it's a little BDSM-ish. It was kind of border right there. It's like every time he want to go there, though, like Simone's like, hold on, I don't really care for that, but then she's right there. I'm down for it. Okay, I'm telling you I don't care for it, but okay, let's do this. So,
no, I think, because that's a good point, though. I think that it was sort of rough, super physical sex, but there wasn't that domination element of it. They were both given and taken, and it was...
Nick wanted it to be, he was trying it, and I feel like Simone really kind of pushed back a little bit, and he kind of was like, okay, well, I mean, if she wasn't submissive, he would have rolled with it. He would have, Mr. Let me smack you on the, what? No, let's do all this other stuff. He totally would have. But, she's a little bit strong for him, so he had to dial it back.
Well, different points of view, I guess.
I guess that's the thing. It's like when you read these, like, just when someone says, well, how spicy is it? One person says, oh my gosh, it was just too much. And the other person says, man, that was a peck on the cheek.
I have that problem when I'm ordering in Mexican restaurants.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's all right. It's pretty mild. And I'm like, this is going to melt my face off because I'm weak. But
Yeah, so what did you guys think of the heat level? Since we're on the subject, would you consider these sex scenes pretty spicy, or did you consider them kind of mild?
I thought it was kind of mild, but then, I read a lot dirtier, spicier things. Like you were saying, Simone wouldn't let him dominate her, so there was that give and take, which made it sexy, but not so spicy. Mm-hmm. Like, if he actually dominated her, then I'd say it was spicier.
Mm.
Yeah, so I didn't think it was kinky, but it was pretty hot. So it was graphic and energetic.
I agree with Nicola. I feel like it was definitely, the heat level was high. This is something that is not safe for work if you're listening to on Audible or something.
Oh God, no.
It's not safe for work. It's definitely not kinky. I don't think I would say it was kinky, but I feel like it could have went there. It was right there. It was like right on the edge of being like erotic, but not erotica, because like like we talked about that, Simone kind of wheeled him in a little bit, but it could have went there. I feel like totally.
I think that's pretty much true for the whole series so far, right? I don't see it going terribly kinky, but it does skirt the edge of pretty, I don't know if extreme is the right word, but highly like with the fire and the sex, and that was like not for me in the previous books. But you can see how it's taking the paranormal elements and using them in the sexual scenes, right? Like these people can do things that you and I can't because they're immortal and they have these powers and they like things more extreme than we do. So
yeah, Nick trying to get in her head while they're doing stuff. I'm like, get out of my head, dude. That's gross. Get out. That's horrible.
Yeah, mind control is a whole thing in your grittier parts of the erotic world. And like, I stay out of those neighborhoods myself because I can't deal with it. But some people like it.
Yeah, I am not that person, so I don't really like not being in control, and to see that someone is struggling with it, that bothers me to read it. So I'm glad it didn't go there, but it could have. It totally could have. So
yeah, and I think that's where at the end, when they when she quote let him in and they merged their powers and triumphed over all the bad guys. I think that's, supposed to be the metaphor for falling in love and breaking down your barriers and accepting the other person for who they are and just sort of becoming something that's more than the sum of its parts. I feel like that's a romantic metaphor. I don't know if I can do it in real life, but, but as literature, I think I think that's what that was about.
Well, I really did like to see them come together in that part where they're defending themselves, like they're protecting themselves and their unborn child. So they came together for a reason, and it produced this amazing power, and I thought that was cool. I would have rather, like it did here, I'd like that it came out in this way versus in the bedroom. I like this better.
Absolutely.
I agree with you, and I think it implies that things are going to be even more awesome, if you want to think about it, and if you don't want to think about it, you don't have to.
Right, exactly. But, you know, now I feel like she completely trusts him. Like, he's been all up in her head. He didn't mess around. She's still alive.
Right.
And, you know, so now she might be more open to it because, you know, she can trust him like that. But who wants someone messing around in their head? Nobody. Like,
Nobody.
Yeah. Well, at least you shouldn't. You shouldn't want that, I don't think. But, you know. So how did you like them as a couple, though? Did you buy Nick and Simone as a couple, like, initially when we first started reading?
Go ahead, Casey. You have thoughts.
It was just like he just immediately left her after that prologue. It was like one sentence, and he was all like, "All right, gotta go be evil," and now I'm gone. And then he came back, and did he ever really explain to her the prophecy, or did he just say, "Oh yeah, fate said I had to leave, but I'm back now and we're together"? Because I didn't see him explain it to her, and I don't know if it was something off camera, if I just missed it completely, or what, but it just sounded like he was all like, "All right, I broke your heart, but I'm back now, and we're going to be together forever. So, just, come on, let's go."
I feel like that's how it was early on, but I feel like I remember him explaining things to her later in the book at some point.
Okay, because I just remember him saying, "Fate said I had to go do this, so I left."
Yeah. Early it was like that. And she's like, "Okay, what, you want me to just accept it?" I'm like,
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there was a scene where he accepted it, or he explained it a little bit more, but maybe not to the extent that you would have liked to. But it satisfied her, right? So she was like, "Oh, so there's bigger things than what I could see." So
yeah, I don't know. I like them. I like them as a couple, and I definitely think the flashbacks of, you know, well, not necessarily flashbacks, but like sometimes he'll like reminisce about how they were before or the time they spent before. And I think knowing that they had that distinct time before he kind of just played her, I feel like he played her a little bit. In her mind, he played her, right? That's how she felt.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So before that, I mean, I guess, I don't know if anyone has experienced that, but like you go away from someone because you have a bad breakup and you come back, you're thrown back together and there's still something there. So I definitely believe that. So I think that was easier for me to swallow versus the couple in book one, like kind of because there wasn't, you know, they had an existing relationship that was serious. So I bought into it quicker, I think.
Yeah, I liked them together. I think what they were trying to do, what the author was trying to do, is, you know, she's established this female character who is supernatural and stronger than most people that she's ever run into for whatever reason, whether it's the supernatural powers or her personal charisma from being, you know, kind of the nobility with her mother being on the Coven 9 and all that. She's been groomed to take over this high power position. She's survived all this other stuff. So when you have a character like that and you are trying to come up with a match for them, a hero or a significant other that will match them, then, you know, doing this extra powerful, extra arrogant, extra everything kind of foil is pretty common in paranormal. So some people like it and some people hits that alpha hole line for them.
No, I feel like sometimes, like, you're right. It's almost like there's two alphas. She's an alpha and he's an alpha.
Yep.
Just to balance her. And that makes sense because while, you know, there's nothing wrong with a beta guy, sometimes women are not turned on by that, and
that's not what Zanetti is writing.
Right, so exactly.
I think that, you know, the world would end if she wrote a beta hero. I think that would not happen.
Yeah, especially not for someone as strong as Simone. And that is also something I loved about her, is she pushed against that protectiveness with everyone, with Bear, with Nick, with, you know, Zane, everyone. She's like, you guys, calm down. Like, calm down. Okay, I can take care of myself. I know what I'm doing. Like, slow your roll, get in your place. It's like she constantly is pushing back against that. And I'm sure she's that's almost tiresome for her, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure it is. And that's a certain theme in the world today too, isn't it?
It is.
Yep.
So,
yeah, but I like that because you guys know I hate a weak woman, and I love a strong, leading lady, and she is all of those things. She's smart, she's witty, but yet she also does show that she can be sensitive and she can have her feelings hurt and she can't cry. So
not smart enough to hide all her financial tracks, but
yeah. Which is crazy.
God.
Like, she's so smart, but like that totally went over her head. Like, how did that happen?
I was really surprised when that turned out she's like, oh no, yeah, I'm guilty. Like, oh. I mean, not necessarily what they were trying to get her on, but when she was funneling money to the Demon Nation for Nick's sake, that was kind of that was a good plot twist, I thought.
Yeah, but someone that totally played you and dumped you, why are you trying to help him? I don't understand that. Like, I guess you could still be in love.
She didn't want him to die.
Oh, okay. Well,
come on now.
I guess she's not completely hurt.
But do you guys want to talk about the big plot twist? I thought the big. I really liked it. So I don't know what you guys thought about Bear's heritage. The dragons.
Oh, yeah.
So when they found out who Bear and Simone's father was. And the whole Hidden Island thing, I was pretty into that. I liked it.
Okay.
I hated it. You guys hated it.
My first instinct was like, oh, I kind of like the dragon thing. That's kind of cool. But then I'm like, Bear's turning into a dragon. That's kind of, I don't know. I just started rolling my eyes a little bit, like, really? You're a dragon? Like, okay. Like, why can't, okay, obviously your maternal side is a shifter, a bear shifter. Just be a bear shifter, Simone is a witch. Just be a witch. She's not turning into a dragon too. Like, one or the other, but not both. I just feel like it just kind of, I didn't like that he turned into this dragon, and they kept trying to say, oh, you're gonna kill yourself, you're gonna injure yourself, stop. And he's like, I'm gonna keep doing it. And it's like, okay, we know.
Right? Bear is my favorite character in this series, and I had the same issue.
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with you? Have you been changing into a dragon your whole life? Is it you just want to suddenly do it all the time now?
Yeah. Then he said, oh, I can do it a couple times a century and nothing hurts. I'm like, or I won't die, or my spleen stays in place, or something, he said. I'm like, okay.
Is it like 5 times in a week?
Right.
Well, I think that's going to play into Bear's story whenever it happens. So,
yeah.
I just liked that there were dragons, and I thought it gave another dimension to why everybody wanted to keep Simone and Nicholas apart. Because, like, a child from that's going to... I feel like their story is so unfinished, right? Like, how are they going to deal with this fact that everybody in their world wants them to not have this baby, and she still has this conviction hanging over her head, and I felt like there's a lot of loose ends here, so I'm assuming they're going to roll into the series arc, but yeah, there was a lot unfinished there. But I did like the dragons. I liked that there was this whole other, more powerful layer to the world that nobody knew about, and that it just changes it changes the game, right? So if the dragons come in and they want to be a part of this paranormal world, then that changes the power dynamics of the whole treaties that they have in place, and it's so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it, and
Overall, I agree. I liked the dragons overall. I just didn't like what they did with Bear. I liked the introduction of Flynn. I kind of liked how they worked together, him and Bear, and how, even though obviously everyone does want the baby dead, but she has a lot of people that are Team Simone. Like, suddenly, she's got, demons that are like, no, she's ours. We're going to protect her. She's got enforcers like, no, she's ours. We're going to protect her. And now she's got dragons like, no, get out of here. We're going to protect her.
Yeah. So the enforcers are kind of breaking from their authority, right? So that's kind of an interesting twist too. I have to
well,
say,
they're all family, right?
Yeah.
Even they're kind of intermingling now, so it's not as clean and black and white as it would have been a little while ago.
I gotta say, the whole thing where he kept calling her Bunny was driving me nuts. Like, I thought that was the most annoying endearment for her. But then when, like, they explained where it came from, that made me laugh. I don't know if it was...
that made me want to stab myself in the neck with a fork.
Oh, no!
Yeah. I'm like, really? So, really? Dragons are, like, transforming into bunnies when they're babies and little? Get out of here. Get out.
Okay, but you've read these shifter books where they have the babies, and how do you raise a toddler that shifts into a freaking dragon? I mean, come on. I kind of liked it. I'm going to be honest, I kind of liked it.
How do you go from a dragon... a bunny to a dragon, like, I can understand if it was like...
It doesn't have to make sense, Tamara. It's magic.
It does, though. Like, I'm right there with you. How can you turn into a bunny and a dragon when bear can't turn into a bear and a dragon without dying?
Yeah. But how was she able to
contradicted itself?
Everything's
right there.
different before puberty, guys.
But then there's this, guys. How do you get to a bunny when you're a baby? You can transform into a bunny, but when you're an adult and a witch, you can't turn into a dragon
or anything. Like, she's a straight up witch. She can't shift.
I just liked it.
Oh, it didn't make sense.
I'm not saying it made sense, but I still liked it.
But you did not like him calling her little bunny.
I didn't. I thought that was really annoying.
Yeah.
If anything, I called her dragon.
Yeah, that would have been kind of cool and more appropriate. But I don't know. Calling her bunny just felt kind of like a. I don't know if derogatory is too strong, but
undermining her kind of.
Yeah, kind of a
like you're my cute little submissive bunny.
Exactly.
Kind of mocking almost. So
I'm telling you, Nick wished she was submissive. He wished so hard she was submissive.
Yeah.
Well, you don't always get everything you want when you meet your fated mate, right?
Oh my gosh! Like, even the part when they're getting mated, and he's like shows her his hand, and he's like, "Where do you want it?" And she's like, He's like, "Where do you want it?" Like yelling at her. She's like, "Oh God, okay, the shoulder."
It was ridiculous, but I liked that better than the first book where they're like, "Oh, oops, I accidentally burned you."
Yeah,
We're made it now. Sorry,
he's doing it.
Yeah,
it's done.
But I gotta say, the cool thing about that whole mating situation was on the opposite end when Simone like reached out and kind of touched his, butt. And he's like, later, he's like, "What is this? You didn't even get it straight."
He's like, "It's crooked. What is this?"
Comic relief. I'm like, oh my God. He's worried about it not being straight.
Who else is going to see it?
Yeah, exactly. Well, he didn't get to choose. I guess maybe he's a little salty about that. Who knows?
Too funny. I don't know. I mean, it's not the most amazing paranormal I've ever read, but I did like a lot of parts of it.
Yeah, I in full disclosure, I always feel like I like the book more after talking to you guys.
Yay.
I do. Yeah. It's like I kind of have this idea in my mind, at first, and then after I hear some different points of view or even some agreement with me, and I'm like, wow, I'm really laughing at some of the stuff in this book. Maybe it was, I liked it more than I thought I did, maybe.
Maybe you just have to be willing to giggle at it a little bit more. Maybe you guys are just taking it too seriously.
Well, I kind of do like to take my paranormal seriously, especially when they're like going around mating and stuff. That's like supposed to be all awe and I don't know.
I just
maybe I do
turn
take
off
it too
my
seriously.
editor brain.
Yeah,
and there are things that don't make sense, and I was like, I would fix this, and I would change this, and I would do that, and this needs to happen.
Yeah. I understand because, like I said earlier, I can let a lot of things go as long as it makes sense. Like, and if it doesn't make sense, it kind of does stick around in my mind. I can't just let it go. Like, that just doesn't make sense.
You cannot even, make sense.
Like, that just doesn't make sense.
You cannot even,
Like, that just doesn't make sense.
make sense. You just lose the ability to even.
Yeah.
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 Pretty much.
So, I don't know. I thought it was a very quick, kind of light read, I guess. I would call it that.
Yeah, I thought it was super fast paced. I mean, you're going to blaze through this if you follow all of the chasing and if you like sort of romantic suspense and you like thriller movies. There's definitely that sense in this book where they're kind of being chased from one crisis to the next, and they fit their personal stuff in around it.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this might be totally rude, but I cannot help it. So I watched the other day the third 50 Shades movie. So now look, you guys, I only read the first book and I didn't like the first book, but I watched the movies just because I wanted to see how bad they were. And the last movie, they did a lot of running around, like running from people, like driving real fast on the road and doing all these things. And that kind of reminded me of this book a little bit. Like, I'm just saying, like, that part, I'm like, oh wow, that kind of, so it's real surfacey. It's not very deep. I mean, I just don't want to, it just, that was the last thing I saw. And I'm like, oh my God, that kind of reminds me of Wicked Burn a little bit. With like it wanting to kind of push the limits as far as dominance in the bedroom, but not really, because Mr. Dominatrix on 50 Shades, it was very soft. I was surprised. I'm like, what's going on? I thought it was supposed to be some hardcore stuff going on. It was real soft. So that kind of reminded me. I'm like, I don't know. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's hilarious.
I read the first two books and I saw where the third one was going, and I was like, I don't want to read that. So I haven't seen any of the movies. The first couple books were like, I don't know. I don't get why it's selling bajillions of copies, because there are millions of better romances out there that do what this is trying to do. But it went viral. That's not to go down that rabbit hole too much, but we all have opinions on that book, right?
I only watched the movies to actually see how bad it was, because everyone was talking smack about it, in the reviews, and they're like, oh, thank God it's over. So I'm like, let me see. Okay, let me see. Yeah, it was bad. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not much for a hate read or a hate watch. Like, if I don't think I'm going to like it, I got better ways to spend my time. But I get it. It's fun. It can be fun.
It makes for fun conversation, just like right now. Okay, what else do we want to talk about concerning Wicked Burn?
Can we talk about the trial for a minute?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it really bothered me how Simone did not give a shit about this trial. She's all like, oh yeah, I'm on trial and all this stuff is against me, but I have work to do, so I'm just going to go do my work and ignore this and not, like, try to come up with any sort of defense, because I have work to do.
Yeah. It took her a minute to realize, like, oh no, they're actually going to try to kill me. Like, something bad could actually happen. I think she was in denial for most of it. Like,
in the last book, when they found the evidence, her cousins were like, holy shit, if I didn't know Simone, I would say she's guilty. Mm-hmm. And that to me says that, holy shit, you should take this seriously, because your cousins are like, wow, this evidence is pretty damning.
This looks bad.
And she's like, she did some, but she just kept saying, like, oh, I gotta do this work. Oh, we'll talk about it later. Oh, this is fine. I just gotta go to my trial. Like, it's fine. I'm good. And
I think she would have been good. I think she would have been good without the manipulations of was it Colin, the guy on the 9 that got her mother
Peter?
removed?
Was it Peter?
Peter. That sounds right.
Yeah.
So they had it down. There's supposed to be 9 of them, right? And then 8 without her, but it came down to 3. And so
I thought it was because they were all her family members, and they were excused because they were family members,
or they were recovering because they got shot with darts. Remember?
Yeah,
they got shot after her first part of the trial, though.
Right. Oh, that's right.
But weren't there more to start with, and then it went down to 3 after the
I
attack?
thought there was only 3 the whole time.
I thought there was more at first, but maybe you're right, and I wasn't following the minor characters quite so much. But I think, we want to know who the mole is on the 9, and we've found out who it is, right? It's Peter, and he's working with whoever it is that's trying to take down the Coven. So,
and also distributing the plane kite, because remember, his brother was the guy that was killed in the last book.
Yep.
So here's what I want to know is why the 9 are not all wearing Kevlar bodysuits.
Because they think they're invincible until they're shot.
But yeah. So that was my big plot hole. That was the plot hole that I was like wanting to cry about. Like, come on, it's the 21st century. It's just a dart. You can. There's things you can do about that. There's probably some magical things you can do about it.
Especially since you know that there are people out there trying to take you down with these darts, with this drug. Why wouldn't you want to protect yourself? Like, it doesn't make sense. Just be cautious.
So that was my frustration, plot hole wise.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, I agree with Casey about the trial. I feel like Simone, it took her a long time. I think it was toward the end of I think it was actually after she was declared guilty, she wanted to cry about it. It was like that all the way up until they said, you're guilty and you're going to die. She didn't believe it could happen, I don't think.
I think you're right.
She did.
Yeah, no, so the question is just whether that was realistic or not. And I guess I think she felt like she had enough allies on the council that it wouldn't come to that.
Well, nobody should be so cocky because look what happens.
Right, yeah. But she actually was kind of guilty. That was the thing that threw me. Like, it wasn't what they thought it was, the moving of the planet kite around. It was the moving of the funds to the demons that was gonna get her one way or the other. And maybe she just was, I don't know. Maybe
Which
she just
was still treason. It was a different
thing, exactly.
But it was still
it totally was. So I don't know if she just I don't know if she just never thought it would get that far, or she knew that the more you dug into it, the worse off she was going to be. I don't know.
Yeah, what does that say about the morality of it all? Like, she even said at the end, I'm going to get back on that council. I'm going to da-da-da-da-da. Dude, like, how can anybody trust you? Like, I don't understand. So you're just because you're pregnant with this demon/dragon baby,
it's going to be a whole new world. It's going to be
right. Like, does that mean you just get to do what you want to do, and everyone's going to support you even if you did something that was wrong just because they want to take care of this baby?
She did it for love. Come on now, it's paranormal romance.
People die for love.
That's right, but she's not gonna because she's the. I don't know. I don't know.
Apparently.
I do think when they get to the end of the series, they're going to have a whole different power structure, right? So
So what are your predictions as far as the council, Nicola?
Oh, that's a good question. So, like, I wish I knew more about the vampires and the demons and how they are all allied, right? But right now they're basically, they kind of balance each other with the 3 different realms, and they're all at the highest levels. They're all sort of uneasy allies. I think that they're going to have to form a single ruling body, and they'll have representatives from each of the 4 now powers that be, and maybe they'll bring in humans. Who knows? And Simone will be on that because she bridges 3 or 4 of them.
3 out of the 4, because I don't think she has anything to do with vampires.
Right.
Yet. No,
right.
Her baby
well,
vampire.
She does, because isn't one of her cousins married to a vampire? Like, Moira isn't her husband?
But she personally isn't, like, genetically. So she's genetically a witch and a shifter and a demon. A demon? A dragon.
Married to a demon.
And married to a demon. And she's bearing a child who's 3 of the 4 things.
Yeah.
4 of the 5 things? How many things are there now? There's witches, vampires, demons, dragons.
The only thing missing from her baby's gene pool is the vampire, I think.
Right.
And who knows? Maybe the baby will like get bit by a vampire and turn into one.
That seems pretty likely.
Oh my gosh, I know, right? Oh my gosh.
You know it's going to happen.
And actually it just came to my attention when we were talking about, like, should the humans be on the panel and stuff, or on the Coven 9 or High Council? But what's-her-face was in there.
Ori? They never found her.
Yeah.
She just, like, disappeared and was like, oh, yeah, we'll get her later.
Yeah, so, like, she
that's
was supposed
gonna be,
to have
you gotta
a
know that's going to
child.
be the next book. It's got to be the next. Her and
because
Bear.
what's the brother Alan? Was he the one that was all about Tori
Adam.
and he didn't want to admit it? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because they're opposites.
Clearly that's where we're going to go next, because she's still holed up somewhere.
Right.
And they're looking for her. So
yep.
that should be interesting.
You say that. But do you want to read it?
Oh my
At
goodness.
least we can laugh about it.
We've laughed more through this episode than any of the other ones.
I agree, but I mean, I feel like you have to laugh or you're just going to be like something else that's not so fun. So,
Aww.
I mean,
Crying and nitpicking or...
Yeah, I feel like it's fun. And if I try to look at it as being fun and not nitpicking it to death, I think, like I said earlier, it kind of helps me enjoy it a little more. Poke fun at the fun stuff.
Definitely enjoy it when we talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, is there anything else to talk about regarding Wicked Burn before we throw out our 5-scale rating as we usually do?
I think we covered the high points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to nitpick at the very end, so I'm just letting it go.
Thank you. Thank you, Casey.
You're welcome.
Okay, guys, before we give our rating, if you have been reading this series along with us and you have some comments on Wicked Burn, please hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag 3bloggers1series. That's using the numeric 3 and 1. And we want to talk to you about it. So if you've been reading and you have some comments on this conversation or about the book in general, hit us up. So let's start with the ratings. Nicola, how about you go first?
You know, I really, really want us to be able to do 3.5, because I would put this at 3.5. But compared to some of the other 4s, I'm going to have to make it a 3.
Okay.
I liked it, but there's better books out there.
Okay. Is this your first 3 of the series?
I might have done a 3 last time.
Okay, I can't remember. Okay, Casey, how about you?
It's 2 stars for me. This conversation was really fun, but there were so many issues I had with the book that I don't even want to get into right now. But yeah, I can't. There was no conclusion. Mm-hmm. That's my biggest.
Yeah, it was very open-ended. I agree. It was a happily for now with a lot of moving parts.
You're right. It wasn't there wasn't a true cliffhanger. There wasn't even I guess there was a semi-closure to a small arc. Momentarily, but
they're together, so the romance had closure, but the paranormal elements did not.
Yeah.
So I can't. 2 stars. I'm just
Okay. I'm gonna give it 3 for me. I think what helped me give it the 3 was that it was a fast read and I was able to speed through it really quickly. And I did really like Simone's character overall, even though she did have some glaring contradictions as far as how she operates.
Yeah.
Like, as far as what's right and what's wrong and stuff like that and what's okay and what's not. I kind of had issues with some of that, but I liked how she was as a person, and I like that she kind of like pushed back on her guy. That's like the best part of it, which made them even more believable to me, and their relationship sparks a little bit brighter because she wasn't just rolling over, so to speak. So
yeah.
I like those things. So I would come in at a 3. Okay, so are we we're done today, right, ladies? Are we done with Wicked Burn?
I think so.
Okay. So the next book is Wicked Kiss, and we have some assumptions about who's going to be in the main couple in that book. I haven't even read the synopsis, so I'm not sure. But we will be reading Wicked Kiss. Be back here next month, and we will have another roundtable book discussion for you. So thanks for spending the time hanging out with us today, and we will catch you next time. And until then, happy reading. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's book chat episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review. You can follow me on Twitter at Shelf Addiction. Most importantly, you can share this podcast with friends and family that enjoy all things bookish, including author interviews. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.